I'm Steve Gruber. I am America's voice, a man on a mission. Here to make this nation better every day by rolling up my sleeves and working hard. I'm proud to do it, and I'm proud to be America first. I hope you are, too. Here are three big things you need to know right now. Number one. I started this yesterday, but didn't get to it. I will today. The number of tigers and lions in the world will soon plummet to the lowest levels in years. We'll talk about that. Number two. An NBA player, a WNBA player, that is, you've probably never heard of before she was arrested for breaking the law by having hash oil in Russia, has been sent home in exchange for the Merchant of Death. We'll tell you about that. And three for All Friday, and that means we're going to cover as much territory as possible. Make sure you hear the stories that affect you most, and not in any particular order. We'll touch on the FBI being in charge of censoring social media on behalf of the Democrats and using a backdoor to get there. Plus, the second big dump from Twitter. We'll talk about that. China's nuclear forces growing exponentially and far outpacing the United States arsenal. The search for a killer in the stabbing deaths of 4 University of Idaho students, still on the front page. And more Republicans dumping on Kevin McCarthy and not supporting his bid to be the next Speaker of the House. We'll hear from Mandy Biggs on that. But we will start with the attack on American energy that was accelerated by Joe Biden, but begun years earlier. And with Lurch, I mean John Kerry, what's the difference? Whichever name you prefer. Flying around the globe is Lurch daily in his private Gulfstream jet while wagging his bony, self-righteous finger at the rest of us. What a twit. John Kerry says American taxpayers, you, should pay the rest of the world Green New Deal reparations. Huh, yeah. He just thinks you can pay and pay and pay, and it's outrageous, but here it is. Listen.
So back on the loss and damage fund, though, I mean, is there going to have to be U.S. taxpayer money that helps the United States? Presumably the United States is going to have to be one of the nations that contributes to
Well, it'd be great if there were some. The United States of America proudly is the largest humanitarian donor in the world. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The American people already do an enormous amount around the world.
Yes.
Yeah, so we should just pay and pay and pay and keep paying. That's what America should do. Just milk you some more. Take everything. It is so absurd. America's the cleanest, greenest, industrialized nation in the world. Of course, we're deindustrializing now because of the behavior of the folks in Washington and people like that. The Green New Deal czar, or whatever his name is. Climate change czar. How about climate clown? John Kerry. He's also bragging that he can help the world destroy farmers, like they're doing in the Netherlands. 3,000 farms are going to be confiscated by the government, by the Dutch government. Why? Livestock. They want to end methane from livestock. And John Kerry wants to do for the world what the Dutch are doing to themselves, which is committing food suicide. Listen to this.
Methane is responsible for half the warming of the planet. Mm-hmm. It's also the fastest reduction that we could get, conceivably. So we now have 150 nations that have joined in the methane pledge, which is to have a global reduction of methane by 30% globally by 2030. If that were to happen, and I think it can, I really believe it could, mm-hmm. because methane is simple. It's not high tech. It's low tech. It's plumbing. It's plugging a well or plugging leaks and stopping it in the transfer or use. And there are ways to do that we can do. So if we accomplish it, it's the equivalent of every automobile in the world, every truck in the world, mm-hmm. every plane in the world, every ship in the world going to zero by 2030. Okay. That is a big grab.
Well, great. Do we get to keep our cars, planes, trains, and automobiles? Do we get to keep all that? No, of course not. No, because we want to go to less than zero. Which how much sense that makes. Less than 0 cents is what that makes. That's John Kerry. That is the power grab of power grabs. That is the chalice, the golden chalice. That is the coveted prize. I'm telling you. If they can get a climate emergency declaration, so they can tell you, well, you can't drive on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Or if your name begins with the letter picket, you can go on odd days. in even days traded with other people. They're going to try to implement this climate emergency nonsense as soon as they can pull it off. They're trying to find an angle in. Maybe it'll be a big firestorm. Maybe it'll be an eruption from a volcano. Maybe it'll be a drought, whatever it is. They're looking for a way in right now, waiting patiently for something to happen, something serendipitous, so they can say, oh, my God, we've got to save the planet. And the only way we can save the planet is by shutting you down. That's the plan here, right? That is the deal. To try to get the biggest prize of all, which is a permanent situation to control you and everyone else globally. A permanent. COVID was nice, worked for a year or two. They need a permanent solution to control how you move, how you communicate, who you communicate with, what you say, how we can control what you have to say. This is all part of the Twitter approach as well. Delete this, moderate that, eliminate those people altogether, silence them. Control movement, push people into cities, all of these things. It is the grand plan. Push everybody together. Make them empty out the countryside. It is the grand plan, my friends. All right, moving on now. Well, some female basketball player earned a swap between America and Russia. Her for a man called the Merchant of Death. Other Americans held in Russia. Unjustly. They don't hold any sway, apparently. They're frankly irrelevant, apparently, according to the White House. Listen to this.
Back on Mark Vogel for a second. He's doing a 14-year sentence for less than an ounce of pot. Would you say he's been wrongfully detained? There's some maybe just want to classify it that way.
Again, I can't speak to any individual specific case at this time. I would refer you to the State Department. Everyone has a different classification. I don't want to get ahead of what the State Department is looking to move forward, or how their diplomatic conversations, or how they're looking to move forward with that particular person. But we want Americans to know that their safety and security is among our highest priorities. Again, I don't want to get into specific individuals from here.
Now, I don't want to get into specifics, but they're really important to us. They're the most important thing ever. But I don't want to be specific about that. They're just the best thing ever. She is the worst. Honestly, and I'm sorry, but she is the worst press secretary I've ever seen. It's not even a close foot race, and that's what's sad. It's not even close, anyhow. Looking for a way to save money going forward with your heating oil, your natural gas, the way you heat and cool your house? WellConnect Geothermal is the way to go. WellConnect Geothermal is a hybrid geothermal system. It uses the well in your yard. Well water is the key here. It's a renewable resource you probably didn't even know you had. That's right. WellConnect can save you 70% on heating, and your air conditioning as a result is basically, well, free. It doesn't replace what you have in the house. It's an addition to what you have in the house, all right? WellConnectGeo.com to find out if you're a good fit anywhere in the north and northeast. WellConnectGeo.com. Looking for dealers, too. WellConnectGeo.com. I'll be back.